What's up, everybody? Trent Smith here on YouTube, and in this video we're going to be talking about my new down blanket that I recently got to replace my old one right here that I've had for years. Probably like, I probably had this for like 6 years. That's a long time to have this blanket, and I use it a lot. But this thing has a few more bells and whistles that are going to make it my go-to blanket that I'm going to take with me on all my adventures from here on out. As you can see, here's one of the cool things about it. You can use it in poncho mode. Alright, let's go over this stuff. So this is a down blanket that you can find on Amazon. It's made by EastHills Outdoors. And one of the cool things about it is it's just a really lightweight, super compact, and pretty warm down blanket that's fairly inexpensive. Just in a few seconds I can get it pretty compact just like this, and it weighs next to nothing. Now this one can do the same thing, and I've been carrying this with me for years on a lot of my adventures. I'll either use this, if it's not too cold, I'll use this as my primary insulation in conjunction with my sleeping bag liner. Or if it is a little too chilly just for this, I'll get in my down sleeping bag and then put this over the top of my down sleeping bag. This has a few different uses. It's like tonight here on the boat, it's a little cool out. So tonight I'll be using this as my primary insulation because it's not really too cold. I think the lows can get down to like maybe like 48 or something tonight. So this will work as my primary insulation. I don't need to couple this with a sleeping bag. One of the advantages of this is on one end of this, it has this bungee draw cord. You can cinch this down and it turns one end of this blanket into a foot box. So now I can take this, put it over my feet, and look at there. I got a nice little foot box that my feet will stay inside of. So this won't fall off of me in the night. But like this blanket, I'd always have trouble with it falling off. You know, you get on there and maybe you roll over in the night or something, it'll want to fall off. That can be pretty annoying when it's cold outside and you wake up and your feet are freezing or something. It totally sucks. It's nice if you can stay asleep all night and stay warm. Now, especially if you're using a sleeping bag with this on top of it and you can't feel where this is, it'll really want to fall off. This is going to be great to help it just stay in place a lot better. Now, one other feature that this has going for it is you can turn it into a poncho mode pretty quickly. It has these snaps along one side, and when you snap them together, it forms a poncho. And it even has these little thumb loops if you want to use those, which I don't think I will. There you go. Snap it together, you got your little poncho that you can just wear maybe if you're sitting around camp, or what if you're out at a ball game or something. That's kind of where I see this being used, or maybe by the campfire just kind of chilling. It could be useful for that. Granted, I don't think I'll really use it for that very much personally, because I'll mainly use it for sleeping when I'm camping. Now with this blanket, this is just a cheap down throw. I think I got this from like Bed Bath & Beyond. They're pretty popular in the forums, or at least they were back years ago when I bought it. A lot of people were using these as their hammocks for top quilts and stuff. But then apparently companies saw the need for that, so they've been making these. And I know there's some, cottage companies that make some of these that are pretty expensive. This was only about 70 bucks, so it's really pretty cheap for what it is. But there's some other differences of why I like this better. One is the size. This orange blanket, it was always a little too wide and a little too short. Well, look here. This blanket, the EastHills one, is about 4 or 5 inches shorter one way, and then it's also about 4 or 5 inches longer in another direction. So that really makes it better suited to use as a blanket for a full-grown person. Granted, I'm only about 5'8". Really, it's borderline for me, but this works really well, especially having that built-in foot box, so that whenever you're in it and you pull it, it doesn't come off your feet. It'll actually stop, before it just does like this, and your feet just come out from under it and they start getting cold. A couple other differences is the fabric. The main fabric, this orange fabric on here, is a little bit thinner. This is like a 70D, I think is what it is, nylon, so it's a little bit tougher, and it's also coated with a DWR finish, which makes it maybe a little bit water repellent. I really don't know how much, but this one, not at all. If you get anything on it, it's going to soak right through it. But granted, this has been durable enough because I've used it a lot, and it still hasn't gotten any holes in it. I haven't had a lot of down leaking out of it either, so I imagine this one's going to do just a little bit better. This one also comes with its own stuff sack, but I just use a Sea to Summit bag, and I put my sleeping bag liner in there as well. So I really don't need the stuff sack, because most of the time my adventures are on the water, so I'm always putting my insulation in a dry bag just in case something happens, so they'll be dry when I need it. They also have a synthetic version of this if you're really worried about getting your stuff wet. But I usually just always go with down because it's a little bit lighter and it gets a little bit more compact. But from now on, this is going to be my go-to insulation. It will always come with me on a trip. It'll be my first insulation of choice because I just like having a quilt style a little bit better than I do a sleeping bag. And the foot box is a game changer. This is so much more convenient than the old orange blanket I've been using for years. So if you're looking for some insulation, I think this will be a good option for you. Thanks for watching. If you want to see some more of my gear videos, I'll link to one right up here for you. You can check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, take care of yourselves. Get out there. God bless. Love you, and I'll see you in the next adventure.